Hello everyone, welcome to 369 Chemistry, and in this video we are going to talk about your electrochemical cell and oxidation. Furthermore, we have discussed molar conductance, specific conductance, then we have discussed the numericals based on it called Rash's law, Debye-Huckel's principle. Okay, so these things has been discussed till now in the other videos. You can go through that. So this is the third the video on this topic of your electrochemistry. Now, electrochemical cell. What is an electrochemical cell? It is a device through which chemical energy changes to your electrical energy and is called your electrochemical cell or voltaic cell or your galvanic cell. That means chemical energy is energy. We know electrical energy can be produced from many sources, right? We have hydroelectricity, where the water actually runs the turbines and then the electricity is produced. We have solar energy, we have wind, which actually produces electricity. So in this case, the chemicals which we have in the universe, these chemicals are used to convert into your electrical energy. Now, in other words, we can say that it is a device in which electrical energy is produced through chemical reaction. The change of the chemical energy to electrical energy causes lowering of the free energy, which appears as an electrical energy and is measured in the terms of an EMF. So here, as you know, for an electric current to flow through a circuit, there should be a circuit. First thing. Second thing, there should be a potential difference across the circuit. So here also there is a potential difference, or EMF is produced. Okay, there is circuit is there, potential difference is also produced, and then the electricity flows through it. So you have two beakers like this. This is the cell diagram, electrochemical cell. I'm showing it. So you have, this is a metal plate, this is another metal plate. Okay, and here this is connected by a round tube. This is called your salt bridge. So what is the significance of this salt bridge, and all I think I will discuss in this chapter. Okay, so this is a salt bridge. Okay, here this one is connected. One is your positive electrode and one is your negative electrode. The negative electrode here is called your anode. This is also, I'll explain why. And this is your cathode. Okay, so this is zinc and this is your copper. This is a solution containing zinc. This one contains solution of zinc, salts of zinc, and this one contains your solution of copper. Okay, this one contains solution of salts. We are using solution of the salts of copper, and here's the salts of your zinc. In an electrochemical cell, chemical reaction takes place in the two parts of the component, okay, in which we call it's a half cell, and the contains electrode and electrodes. So this is called your this is the electrode. Okay, and the solution is called your electrolyte. Okay, so this is your positive electrode and this is your negative electrode. Now see, it is this circuit is divided as this is one half cell and this is another half cell. This is called your reduction half cell and this is called your oxidation half cell. Okay, why so? I will discuss. See, here the solution in this two component is connected through a inverted U-shaped structure tube, and that contains your this inverted tube. It contains agar-agar jelly and the electrolyte such as your KCN. It contains electrolyte such as KCN. Okay, then KNO3. Okay, then KNO3 and your NH4NO3. So inert electrolyte, the U tube is connecting to the two components is called your salt bridge. So what is the significance of this salt bridge? Okay, we are going to discuss now. See, this is a solution of copper and here the solution of zinc. Okay, so here what happens, oxidation takes place, and there in the other half there is reduction going on. So where the oxidation and reduction goes on, that time we say that a redox reaction actually helps us to form a chemical electrochemical cell. Okay, so reduction is so redox is going on. So what is redox? Where you have both oxidation and reduction taking place simultaneously. So this is called your redox reaction. And what happens through reduction and oxidation? What does this actually means? Okay, so with this we will go later. First we will discuss the components. Okay, so what happens in this when the electrical current, or you can say here anode, is said to be minus. Why? Because here cations comes and adds cations comes and adds up to your this electrode. So when cations comes and goes, cations are added, cations gets added to electrode, because when electricity is passed through the thing. Okay, see here with the salts of your zinc, zinc is always, zinc becomes 2 plus. That means what it does is zinc, when you dissolve any salts of zinc in solution, the zinc cation gets separated, and then there is a anions also getting separated. So this zinc, what it does, it loses electron, so it undergoes oxidation. So loss of electron is called your oxidation. What happens here? Loss of electrons. We have totally discussed more about your redox reaction, oxidation reaction, solving the sums, and by ion electron method, oxidation number method, everything we have done in the series of your redox reactions. So please go through that. Okay, but here we are only discussing about your electrochemical cell. Here what happens? The anions goes and gets added. Here what happens? The anions goes and gets attached. So since anion goes and gets attached, that means what? Minus sign is going to going and getting attached to this electrode. So this electrode is positive. Negative positive attracts. Here also, see, since anion goes here and gets added up, so it should be sorry, here the cations goes and gets added up to this electrode. So what happens is that the other side, the electrode should be negative, so that cations can go and add. So positive and negative attracts. Here also, here the anion goes and gets attached to this electrode, so the electrode should be positive. It will be always opposite. If cations is going and getting added to the electrode, so electrode will be negative, and if anions is getting attached, so electrode should be positive, so that a positive negative attraction takes place. So what happens when there is a difference of there is a difference when this electricity is passed. Okay, so what happens? These anions goes and gets attached to itself. Okay, even if sometimes what happens when there is no electricity is passed, just because this salt gets dissolved in this salt, when they get dissociated as your positive and negative ions, here there is a difference of potential has been developed due to the help of a salt bridge. And when there is a difference in potential, what happens? Though the positive ion goes and get attached, and the negative ion goes and gets attached out here, so there is some movement. So due to the movement of these electrons, that is your positive cations and the anions, there is a formation of your EMF, or you can say there is a potential difference being created, and hence the electricity flows. Okay, so the flow of electrons, we know that is called your electricity. So what is the significance of your salt bridge? Okay, we will discuss about significance of salt bridge now. Okay, so this is important. Why? Because in competitive examination sometimes they will ask from the significance. You tell what is the significance of your salt bridge. So if you don't know, so there will be problem. The first significance is that it connects the solution of the two half cells, thus completes the cells circuits. So it connects the solution of two half cell, thus completes the cell circuit. So whatever I am giving you as notes, or I am writing in this video, please copy it down as it is in your copy, because if you write this much only, you will get answer, you will get marks. Okay, the second is it prevents the transference of or diffusion of the solution from one half cell to the other. So just because this is there, so diffusion of the there is no diffusion of the solution from one cell to the other, it is restricted. The salt bridge, it prevents. So it prevents the transference of any solution in two half cells. Okay, number 3 is it helps in keeping the solution in the two half cells electrically neutral. So what happens if suppose there is an excessive anions, okay, in this electrode? So what happens is that the positive ion from this solution of the salt which will come and neutralize it, and here also if there is excess of your cations, then the negative part from the salt bridge will come and it will come and balance it. Okay, so it provides negative ions to it helps in keeping the solution in two half cells electrically neutral, that is it provides negative ions to the anodic half cell, thus preventing the accumulation of extra positive charge. So if any extra positive charge is there, so it will be neutralized by the negative ion, and if there is extra negative charge on the anode, then the positive ion from this salt will come and neutralize it. Okay, so it helps to in the solution to be electrically neutral. So it helps the solution in the half cell in the two half cell to be electrically neutral. Okay, and number D, what is that? It prevents liquid junction potential, that is the potential difference which arises due to the two solution when liquid junction potential, that is the potential difference which arises between two solutions. So it prevents what? Liquid junction potential. So whatever junction potential has been brought up by these two solutions in the two different beakers, so they what happens here, if there is excess charge, so it gets and neutralizes it, right? So it prevents the junction potential. So there is, you can say, it helps it to stay electrically neutral. So there is no junction potential is actually there now. So because of this solution, it actually helps to be in electrically neutral state only. So there is no junction potential which arises between the two solution when they are in contact with each other. see, due to the movement of the ions, that is your positive ion or your negative ions, there is already a potential difference which is there. Okay, so that potential difference is being already created. But due to this, so there is, when there is a when there is a potential change in, you can say, potential difference when the electricity flows, so that time, so that the solution does not go out here and there is a liquid junction, the liquid junction should not be liquid junction potential should not be there. So that means potential difference created due to this electricity is okay, but not due to the you can say the junction potential due to the electrolyte. Okay, so the two different electrolytes should be in a two different state, so it prevents that way. Now the salt bridge can be replaced by a porous portion which allows the migration of the two ions without allowing the solution to intermix. Actually, it is not allowing the solution to intermix with each other, so keeping the cell to be constant or in equilibrium state. Now the electrochemical cells are of two types. So this, we talked about your electrochemical cell, but now the electrochemical cells are of two types, that is your electrolytic cell and the other one is your galvanic cell. So we'll discuss this. So now the electrochemical cell types. It is two types. One is your electrolytic cell and other one is your galvanic cell. Electrolytic cell or your galvanic cell. Now, what is an electrolytic cell? It is a device in which electrolysis, that is chemical reaction involving oxidation and reduction, is carried out by using electricity, or in which conversion of electrical energy into chemical energy is done. So here the key differences we will discuss now. So here what happens, this is a device in which the electrical energy is converted into your chemical energy. Okay, so here what happens, the chemical reaction involving oxidation and reduction reaction is carried out using electricity. So here the redox reaction is done with the help of electricity. That means, the starting of the process is done with passing electricity through the solution, and then there is a change in the chemical reaction. So there is a change in oxidation reduction taking place, and then it is changing into your chemical energy. So electrical energy is converted into your chemical energy. Whereas in case of your galvanic cell, here what happens is that here in galvanic, or you can say this is also called your voltaic cell, so don't get confused, it is the same name. Okay, so it is the cell where your your chemical energy is converted into your electrical energy. Okay, so here there is no need of to pass some electricity to start the process. Here the chemical energy is now transferred into your electrical energy. First, let me draw the circuit so that you can understand it better. Okay, I will be able to explain you in details about this. That is your electrolytic cell or your galvanic cell. So here also you have a beaker, you have two electrodes. Okay, there is a potential difference. Okay, this is your E minus, electrons are there both sides, this is positive, this is negative. So, okay, so this is your positive is anode, this is your cathode. Okay, in electrolytic cell. EMF is applied to cell. Okay, so here also there is a 2 electrode. This is the negative electrode. This side is your positive electrode. The negative electrode is called your anode, and the positive electrode is called your cathode. Okay, this is called your galvanic cell or voltaic cell. Here EMF is generated by the cell. Here EMF is applied to the cell. That means EMF is applied, so electricity is applied, and hence chemical energy is formed. Here what happens? Here EMF is generated by the cell itself. Okay, it has not been applied to the cell. Okay, so this is another. So this is the diagram of both. The second difference is that here what happens is that in electrolytic cell, anode is positive while cathode is negative. Here anode is positive, okay, whereas cathode is negative. Here what happens is that here it is anode is negative and cathode is positive. Remember this, it is very important. Even I went confused when I was just first learning this topic. Okay, so here anode is negative and your cathode is positive, whereas here anode is positive and your cathode is negative. Now in electrolytic cell, ions are discharged on both the electrodes. So here what happens, since electricity helps in breaking down of the salt, so what happens here, you can say in electrolytic cell, anode ions are discharged on both the electrodes. Okay, whereas in case of your galvanic cell, ions are discharged only at cathode. Okay, so ions are discharged only at cathode. It is not discharged anywhere else. Only ions get discharged in cathode. Cathode, that is your positive electrode. Okay, so this is the key difference. Here in this case, in electrolysis cell, both the electrodes are on the same compartment, and here what happens, here the both cell is being divided by you can say there is one different filtered apartment. Okay, both the electrodes are fitted with the same, while in galvanic cell both electrodes are fitted in different apartment. While in galvanic cell both are in different apartment. So what I discussed, or which drawing which I drew first, was about your you can say your galvanic cell. So done, the difference between your two cell, that is your electrolytic cell and galvanic cell, is done. We have discussed about your electrolytic cell and your Daniell cell or galvanic cell or your voltaic cell. So we will discuss some more properties of the Daniell cell. The anode is here. What happens? The chemical energy is transferred into your electrical energy. That means the redox reaction taking place, that is the reduction and oxidation which taking place in the mixture simultaneously, results into the formation of your electrical energy. So the anode is made up of your zinc rod and it is dipped in your ZnSO4 electrolyte. Similarly, what happens is that the cathode is made up of copper, copper, and is dipped in copper sulfate solution. Okay, so when zinc and copper electrodes are joined by an wire, so what happens when this zinc and copper electrodes are joined by the wire, then the following observation is noted. First is that there is a flow of electric current in the external circuit. So flow of electric current is there. Okay, in the external circuit, that is from copper electrode, okay, to, that is your positive one, to electrode to negative. Okay, so it went from copper ion to the negative ion. It was the first observation of the Daniell cell, when the flow of electric current occurs from your positive to negative side. Okay, the second observation was the zinc rod loses its mass. The zinc rod loses its mass. Okay, while the copper rod gains its mass. Okay, so what was the second observation? Second observation was that first observation was the electricity flows through the circuit from your positive to the negative, that is from cathode to negative one, from copper to zinc, and the zinc rod loses its mass while the copper rod gains its mass. Okay, the third was, what was the thing? The thing is that the zinc rod loses its the concentration of ZnSO4, the concentration of ZnSO4 solution increases while that of CuSO4 decreases. And the fourth observation was the solution in both the compartment remains electrochemically neutral. The solution in both the compartment remains electrically neutral. So what was that? Okay, so here actually zinc metal is oxidized at your zinc electrode, and electrons release travels through the external circuit to copper, while electrode where there is a used in reduction of copper ions into your copper metal, which is deposited on the electrode. Thus the redox reaction takes place. So that is your zinc gives, okay, copper aqueous. Okay, it forms your Zn2 plus, that means zinc loses and coppers becomes solids. So what happens, the what is happening now, this redox reaction is taking place. How? See, this zinc, it is losing electron. It is losing how many electrons? It is losing 2 electrons. So loss of electrons is called your oxidation, and gain of electron is called reduction. Oxidation is also addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen, and your reduction is also addition of hydrogen and your removal of oxygen. So here basically zinc is losing electron. So what is happening, from the electrons is passing from zinc to from copper. That means this zinc is losing electron. So what happens, the electricity is passing to positive to negative. So from it is losing electrons and it is becoming positive cation, whereas this in the and this CO2 plus, it is going and getting deposited. So the zinc rod loses its mass, since it loses its electron, so it is losing its mass, while the copper rod is gaining it. So copper, it is actually getting deposited on the other side. So the concentration of ZnSO4 increases. Why? Because ZnSO4, the more it is getting solvated, the more it is getting solvated, that means dissociated, so better the zinc is getting oxidized. So what is happening here, the dissociation of ZnSO4 is very much quicker. So concentration of ZnSO4 solution increases while that of copper sulfate decreases. Why? Because from the solution of this copper, now this copper ion is getting and deposited to the electrode, copper electrode. Okay, so what is happening here, because it is going and getting deposited in the copper electrode, so the mass of copper is increasing and hence the concentration of CuSO4 is decreasing, whereas concentration of ZnSO4 increases. That means even from the zinc electrode, the zinc metal is coming down in the solution. Okay, so as here Zn2 plus, it is forming Zn2 plus. So this one, the mass is less, here the mass getting more. The solution still, in both the cases, it remains electrically neutral with the help of your, you can say, with the help of the salt bridge we are doing this. So now here just moving of ions is creating the electric field. So it is called your chemical energy transferring into your electrical energy. So we have done, one side is called your reduction half cell, another is called your oxidation half cell. So this is your reduction half cell and this side is your oxidation half cell. Okay, so this we have discussed about your everything about electrochemical cell. Okay, I have not touched much about your oxidation reduction, because oxidation and reduction we have already covered in the topic of your redox reactions. Next we will go for your electrode potential in the next video.